Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 Review. An overall stellar season can be a bit crowded, but I'm having too much fun to care. Star Trek Strange New Worlds has always been a balancing act. Nostalgia and innovation, comedy and tragedy, monster of the week and serialized arcs. In its third season, that balancing act gets bolder, sometimes teetering under the weight of its own ambition. Yet even when things get crowded, the ride is so joyous, heartfelt, and distinctly Star Trek that it's impossible not to have fun. Season 3 feels like a confident continuation of what made the show great from the start. Anson Mount's Captain Pike remains the warm, steady heart of the Enterprise, offering a vision of leadership grounded in compassion and quiet strength. But this time, Pike's calm is tested more than ever by shifting crew dynamics, increasingly personal missions, and the looming sense that the galaxy is about to change. The show never forgets its roots in optimism, but it also doesn't shy away from exploring the toll that exploration can take. A crew that feels like family, even when they're all fighting for screen time. One of the strongest aspects of Strange New Worlds has always been its ensemble cast, and Season 3 continues that tradition beautifully, if occasionally chaotically. With so many beloved characters getting major focus episodes, the season sometimes feels like it's bursting at the seams. Yet even when the narrative gets crowded, it's hard to complain when each member of the Enterprise gets a meaningful moment. Ethan Peck's Spock continues to evolve in fascinating ways. His struggle between logic and emotion has always been central to the franchise, but Strange New Worlds makes it feel freshly relevant. His interactions with Nurse Chapel Jess Bush remain emotionally charged, even as both characters face the consequences of choices made in Season 2. Their dynamic becomes less about romance and more about growth, about learning how to be whole on their own terms. Meanwhile, Celia Rose Gooding's Uhura has quietly become one of the emotional anchors of the show. Her journey from uncertain cadet to confident communications officer is given a few standout moments that showcase her intelligence and empathy in equal measure. And while we could always use more screen time for Christina Chong's Lan Noonien Singh, her episodes remain some of the series' most intense, a mix of vulnerability and grit that continues to push Star Trek into emotionally raw territory. Bigger stakes, braver stories. Where Season 2 flirted with serialized storytelling, Season 3 dives in deeper. The galaxy feels more interconnected, the threats more personal. There are hints of a brewing galactic tension, political, moral, and scientific, that could easily become the show's long-term arc. Yet Strange New Worlds still finds time for one-off adventures that remind us why we fell in love with the show in the first place. From a delightfully absurd time travel escapade to a haunting exploration of first contact gone wrong, the season never loses sight of its sense of wonder. Every episode feels like its own little film, with high production values, inventive visuals, and a musical score that soars with classic Trek optimism. Still, there's no denying that the season occasionally bites off more than it can chew. Some subplots, like the ongoing Federation politics or side character romances, feel like they could have used another episode to breathe. At times, the pacing feels slightly rushed, as if the writers were afraid to leave anything off the table. But even when the story feels overstuffed, the sheer enthusiasm behind it is infectious. Old ideals, new questions. What makes Strange New Worlds truly shine this season is how it continues to reinterpret Star Trek's core ideals for modern audiences. The Prime Directive, for instance, isn't treated as a simple rule but as a moral labyrinth, a challenge that tests the crew's values at every turn. Science and diplomacy remain at the heart of the storytelling. But there's also a growing awareness that exploration can have unintended consequences. The series also continues to play with tone in ways that few Star Trek shows have dared. One week you're laughing through a musical encore or a meta-comedy adventure, and the next you're grappling with a devastating ethical dilemma that hits like a punch to the gut. Somehow, it all fits. That tonal elasticity has become part of the show's identity, a willingness to embrace both the absurd and the profound in equal measure. A bright future for Starfleet. Technically, Strange New Worlds has never looked better. The visual effects are crisp and cinematic. The costume design directors take creative swings that make